So Josie, we're working on some strategies to help with understanding texts. We know that as you get older and you're reading increasingly complex texts, you need some strategies for understanding them. And one of the strategies that you've learned through elementary school is making connections. Instead of having you read this article and then ask you later the things that you were thinking about, when you read this the first time, I asked you to use a strategy called hyperlinking. And what I wanted to do was see your thinking as you read the text. So what you did, well, do you want to describe what you did the last time? What did you do when you read this the first time?
I read through the article, and whenever I found something that I had a connection with, I wrote what I was thinking.
Okay, so over here is an example of that. We see it highlighted in bold here, what you read that made you think of something, and then you went over here to show what you were thinking. And I see a link here as well. Can you describe that?
Well, in the text it says that Barbie dolls have a particular look to them, and they don't look like any real human being. So that made me think of the girl who had to get tons of surgeries just so she could look like the real life Barbie. So I then put a link connecting as to what she looks like and who she is.
Okay, so we see that when we look at your piece of reading that you made 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different connections, or identified 5 different places where you were able to tell the things that you were thinking about as you read. And we know that those things help to draw on your understanding or things that you already know, or your previous knowledge and knowledge that you have about different things, to help you actually understand the bigger ideas of this text, right?
Yeah.
So as you make connections and as you think when you're reading, it's important to be able to draw, as I just said, on your past knowledge, but also on things that you've read before in the text, and see connections within the text. What we want to do now is we want to look at some of the thinking that we do as we're reading. And we want to analyze it and kind of prioritize, which ones of those connections or those thoughts that we made are actually helping us understand the text more, and which ones are, well, I thought of them, but I didn't really need to go and investigate that further, or I didn't need to think about them too much in order to understand the text. So it's just something that popped into my mind, and that happens all the time when we're reading and we're drawing on our other experiences. But some of them actually contribute to us understanding the text more, and some of us are more what we might call a dead end. Like a dead end connection that doesn't really add to meaning. Okay? So if we look at that, and we look at your first example, where Barbie dolls have a particular look to them. They're thin, tall-legged, and virtually unlike any real human being. And then we look at your, do you want to read your connection there?
This makes me think of the girl who had so many surgeries just so she could make herself look like a real life Barbie.
Okay, so would we say that one helps you make meaning of the text, or would that be a connection that maybe is a dead end to understanding further about this idea?
I feel like it makes meaning to the text because it basically explains the article and what it is saying, because the titles "Do Barbies Have Different Body Shapes Than Before?" and how they're trying to make them better. And in this it says they're virtually unlike any real human being, and I'm saying that you'd have to have many, many surgeries just to even look like a Barbie doll.
Okay, so it does support the fact that, yeah, they're not like humans, doesn't it? And in order to be like that, they would have to make a lot of changes. Okay, or we would. All right, so the next one, Barbie has had more than 180 different careers, including football coach, sign language teacher, paratrooper, ambassador, president, and astronaut. Her body shape hasn't changed much. Tell me about your connection there.
I had said that over the years I've had a lot of Barbies, but I've never had any of these type of Barbies. And I feel like this would be a dead end because it's just something cool that I thought of as I was reading.
Okay, and you actually searched up something there. What was it?
The paratrooper Barbie.
Okay, and that was just more a curiosity?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's look now at your next connection. There are now Barbies with one of 7 skin tones, 22 eye colors, and 24 hairstyles to choose from. What was your thinking around that?
I had said that that is good because we live in a multicultural world.
Okay, so does that help you make meaning of this text as a whole, or is that more of a dead-end connection?
I think it makes meaning of the text because the world we live in now, there's many different cultures and different color skins. So Barbie needs to, and Maytel needs to start making Barbies like that as well.
Okay, and it comes back to the title, it looks, right? Different body shapes than before, but also different types and more real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a connection down here, or some thinking. On a statement on its website, the company says it wants Barbies to look more like real people and to give girls everywhere infinitely more ways to spark their imagination and play out their stories. And your connection or thinking there was?
Most Barbies in the past have followed all the stereotypes of what girls are supposed to look like. And with how our world is today, when girls go through puberty, we have many I hate my body moments. So having Barbies that aren't following the stereotypes is good.
Okay, and a dead end or helps make meaning?
Helps make meaning. Because it says that Barbie wants to make, that Maytel wants to make Barbies look more like real people. And I think that's really good because today in time, we don't have perfect bodies with a thin waist and just skinny, big hips and long hair.
So back to that real life connection again. And the last connection you have is sales of Barbie dolls have been falling every year since 2012, according to CBC News. What did you record as you're thinking there?
I had said I wonder if this is because loss of interest or maybe something else.
Okay, so you were having a wondering there just around why the sales have dropped?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and would you say that's a dead end, kind of distracting thinking, or would you say that's more about understanding the entire text?
I think it's more of a dead end because it's not really focusing on the main part of the article.
Okay.
It's just a wondering that I had while I was reading.
Okay, so if you had to summarize then, you had, which would you say that were the most significant connections that you made to make meaning?
The real life Barbie,
Okay.
the multicultural world, and the stereotypes real life.
All right. And some that were just extra thoughts that you had.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens. We think of many things and we draw on many connections when we're understanding. But good that we can analyze and we can decide which ones really help us make better meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for meeting with me, Josie.
No problem.